back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So Melbourne is pretty much open back up from tomorrow. There are still some restrictions left, but they can more or less be ignored by everyone now. I think it's like 50 people to a venue now or some shit like that. It doesn't matter anymore. Once it slightly opens up, no one's going to give a fuck anymore. No one's going to give a fuck like the Afghans at the Afghanistani restaurant I went to today didn't give a fuck. There was like 80 people there in a 40-seater restaurant. I went to walk in and I was like, oh, fuck, it's full. They're not going to let us in. And they greeted us with open arms and gave us a fucking chair. No one was social distancing. It was fucking sweet. I felt alive again. That's what it's going to be like everywhere now. And they're easing up the mask restrictions now too. It's still fucking all over the place. You got to wear it inside or something. You don't have to wear it outside, but you have to wear it outside if you're standing in line for a hot dog or something. It was all bullshit. Who knows? If you're in Melbourne and you don't understand whether you need to wear a mask or not, just be on the safe side and don't wear it. You don't want to wear a mask if you don't have to. But the most important thing is from 12 o'clock tonight, the border with New South Wales is open again. And I think I'm going to get the fuck out of town for a week or so. I need to get out of Melbourne. I need to hit the road. So maybe Wednesday or something like that, we're going to fucking head up to Sydney. Go for a fucking drive. Stay at a couple of places on the way. Stay a few nights in Sydney, maybe even a week. Maybe head up to Bathurst or Port Macquarie or something like that. I just need to see something other than Melbourne. Anything. I haven't left Melbourne in like 8 months. I never spend that long here without leaving. I feel like I'm fucking fishing. I feel like taking my son out to some stream or some river or some shit and sitting on the banks of the river with a bit of straw in our mouths, not talking but understanding each other. Just sitting there waiting for some nibbles. And then I think I feel a bite, so I reel my line in and there's no hook or sinker on the line because a tadpole fucking swam past it and accidentally nudged it and they both fell off. That is another thing that's going to make my son ashamed of me. Fishing. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. If you pressed me, I have no idea how to tie a proper knot to keep the hook on. Like I'll pretend I know how to do it, but if you really looked at the knot, it's just 47 knots on top of each other. And where's the sinker meant to go? Halfway up the line or against the hook? I don't know. And how do you put bait on? Like, what's the technique? And what bait do you use? I just have no idea about fishing. It's something I get really excited about once every about 5 years. Once every 5 years, I'll start researching fishing. I'll learn how to tie the knot. I'll figure out what bait to use. I'll buy a fishing rod, and I always buy a big fishing rod. Never a small fishing rod. I always get the biggest fucking fishing rod. Last time I bought a fishing rod, even when you pulled it apart, it barely fit in the car. I'm like, I'm going to need a big fucking rod. What if I catch a shark? What if by some miracle a shark swims past my hook and it's just a hook because the bait's already fallen off and then gets its fin caught on the hook accidentally and by some other miracle the hook doesn't slide straight off the line and I've got a shark? What am I going to do then? What am I going to do then with a little rod? The last thing I actually caught was a fucking turtle. That's how good I am at fishing. At Cape Tribulation up in far north Queensland. I was there with my wife on some romantic thing. And I'm like, let's go rock fishing. So I ended up out on the rocks. I don't know how I ended up out on the rocks rock fishing. And I just set out this one cast. And then I started reeling it in. And it caught something. I'm like, a fish. But it wasn't putting up much of a fight. And I kept reeling it in. I'm like, oh, there's nothing on there. And then I kept pulling it. And I'm like, no, there's something on there. And then by the time I'd reeled it into the rocks, I'm like, fuck, it's a turtle. And I just see this sad turtle head just bopping up and down. And I'm like, all right, babe. And by the way I said that to her, I think she was like, this guy's a man's man. He is taking control of the situation. He knows what to do. He's accidentally caught a 130-year-old sea turtle that looks sad. Looks like he reads poetry or something, this fucking sea turtle. But he knows what to do. He's going to take control of the situation. So I'm like, babe, listen. See that guy over there fishing in the distance about 500 meters away? I'm going to need you to run over to him and ask him to help me because I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. How do you get a turtle off a hook? And so that's what she did. She ran over, grabbed the guy. The guy came over, took complete control. He dragged the turtle in, then handed it over to us to take some pictures with it. And then I threw it back in. It was a mixture of humiliation and excitement. It was exciting holding the sad turtle. It was a little bit humiliating needing some other guy to help me. And that was about 5 years ago. And I've forgotten everything since then. I don't know how to catch turtles anymore. Fishing is something I feel like I should love. It has me written all over it. You sit there, you do nothing. It's just silent, waiting around. Usually you're drinking, smoking darts. But I always hate it. I always fucking hate fishing. But that's not going to stop me. I'm leaving Melbourne for a week or so. I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to humiliate myself in front of my wife and my kid again. I might even take the kite. Son, here's 2 things your dad can confidently not do. But how hard could fishing be, really? A couple of fucking YouTube tutorials? Maybe a fucking hour research? What else do you need? I'm fucking looking forward to it. Boyle is getting back on the road. Probably Wednesday. Alright, that is it for tonight. If you're enjoying the podcast, just share it around with your friends. That'll do. Alright, see you the fuck later.